Hello there, Toon Army. One of the biggest questions haunting every Newcastle fan right now is, are we witnessing a complete transformation in how our club operates? Or are we about to repeat the same frustrating transfer mistakes? Just this week, João Pedro, choosing Chelsea over our black and white stripes, sent shockwaves through the entire Toon Army. But here's where things get absolutely mental. There's been a seismic shift happening behind the scenes that could unleash a completely different Newcastle United. Today, we're diving into what I'm calling the Great Newcastle Awakening, the secret strategy that's turning us from transfer market victims into predators. And it all starts with this Elanga pursuit and our mysterious Marseille target. Trust me, you're not going to believe what I've discovered about what's really happening at St. James Park right now. Right then, let's get straight into it, because there's no point sugarcoating what's been happening in the transfer market, is there? We've all been watching this João Pedro saga unfold like a proper soap opera. And frankly, it's left many of us feeling a bit deflated. Here we are, with Eddie Howe saying at the start of the window that he wanted transfers done early, that he wanted to take advantage of other teams struggling with PSR issues. And what happens? June flies by without a single signing. The PSR deadline comes and goes without even a whisper of activity. And then our number one target decides to pack his bags for Stamford Bridge instead of the Toon. Let's be honest here, lads and lasses. Chelsea swooping in with their $60 million offer while we were sitting pretty with our $45 million bid was always going to be a risk. It's football, isn't it? Players get their heads turned by bigger wages, London lifestyle, and all that comes with it. But what's really getting under my skin is how we seem to have been strung along in this whole process. Pedro's representatives clearly used our interest to drive up his value and secure a better deal elsewhere, and we've been left looking like mugs. Now, I'm not going to completely slate the lad, because he is a quality player. Has he doubled his worth since leaving Watford? That's debatable, especially considering he was playing second fiddle to Danny Welbeck at Brighton for a good chunk of time. But the market is what it is, and inflated prices are just part of modern football. What frustrates me most is that we allowed this situation to drag on for so long, without having proper alternatives lined up and ready to go. But here's where things get interesting, and why I'm not completely doom and gloom about this whole situation. Reports are now suggesting that Newcastle are ready to step up their pursuit of Anthony Elanga from Nottingham Forest. And I have to say, this could be exactly the kind of decisive action we need to see from the club. We've apparently upped our bid to around $50 million, which shows we're serious about getting business done. Elanga is a player I've been keeping my eye on, and there's plenty to like about what he brings to the table. He's Premier League proven, which is massive in today's market. No settling in period, no language barriers, no culture shock. Just a player who knows exactly what this league demands and can hit the ground running from day one. He's got pace to burn, he's direct in his approach, and he's shown real quality at Forest. What's particularly exciting is the connection he already has with some of our lads. Seeing him doing TikTok dances with Aula tells me there's already a relationship there. And don't forget he's a Sweden international, alongside our Alexander Isak. That international connection could be massive for both players. Isak didn't finish last season as strongly as we'd have liked, and having a fellow Swede who he's comfortable with could really help elevate his game. The mathematics of this deal make sense too. Forest valued him at $60 million initially, and said he wasn't for sale. But that's just negotiation talk, isn't it? When a club puts a price tag like that on a player, they're essentially saying, come and get me, rather than get lost. Our $50 million bid is finding that middle ground, and I reckon there's a deal to be done here. Time is definitely a factor now though. We're 6 days away from pre-season starting, and ideally, we want any new signings integrated into the squad from the very beginning. Having players available for the full pre-season schedule is crucial for Eddie Howe's tactical planning and for building that team chemistry that's so important. The question everyone's asking is whether Elanga would start ahead of Murphy in that first game of the season. Honestly, I couldn't promise you that right away, but over the course of the season, I absolutely believe he'd become a regular starter. That's what you want from your summer signings. Immediate squad improvement with the potential to become first-choice players. What I love about potentially getting both Trafford and Elanga done is that we'd have 2 Premier League proven additions who can make an immediate impact. No gambling on potential, no hoping they'll adapt to English football. Just quality players who know exactly what they're doing and can contribute straight away. This whole Pedro situation might actually be a blessing in disguise if it forces us to be more decisive and aggressive in the market. We've learned a harsh lesson about Premier League transfers. You either get them done quickly or you pay the premium price. There's no middle ground, and clubs like Chelsea with their financial muscle will always be lurking to hijack deals if you hesitate too long. Right then, let's crack on with what's happening on the defensive side of things, because this is where Newcastle are starting to think a bit more cleverly about the transfer market. We've been burned enough times trying to do business in the Premier League, so it makes perfect sense that we're casting our net wider and looking abroad for solutions. The name that's popping up everywhere now is this Argentinian centre-back from Marseille, Elanga Balerdi. Now, I'll be completely honest with you, I haven't seen loads of him in action, but what I do know is encouraging. He's 26 years old, so he's at that perfect age where he's got experience, but still has his best years ahead of him. Marseille had a fantastic season last year, finishing second in League One, and he was a key part of that success with 49 appearances. What I love about this potential signing is the journey this lad's been on. He's played for Boca Juniors back in Argentina, had a stint at Dortmund in the Bundesliga, and now he's settled in France. That's exactly the kind of varied experience you want in a centre-back. He's had to adapt to different leagues, different styles of play, different cultures, and by all accounts, he's thrived wherever he's gone. That adaptability is going to be crucial if he does make the move to the Premier League. The reported fee of around $35 million is music to my ears, compared to what we've been quoted for Premier League defenders. Mark Guehi is still being valued at 45 to 60 million, depending on what mood Crystal Palace are in that day, and now Liverpool are sniffing around him anyway. Lenny Yoro, who we were linked with, has gone off to Real Madrid, and let's be honest, that's a tough one to compete with when Madrid come calling. This is where smart recruitment comes into play, and it's exactly what we should be doing more of. Instead of getting into bidding wars for overhyped Premier League players, we're identifying quality from abroad at more reasonable prices. Balerdi represents exactly the kind of signing that could give us excellent value for money, while addressing a position we desperately need to strengthen. And let's not forget, this is a position we should have sorted out 3 windows ago. The frustration among fans is completely understandable, because we've been crying out for defensive reinforcements for ages. And here we are again, scrambling to get deals done. Eddie Howe made all the right noises at the start of the window about getting business done early. And yet here we are, days away from pre-season, still trying to piece together our squad. The Paul Mitchell situation adds another layer of complexity to all this. Whatever you thought of the man, and it sounds like he was a bit of a pain to work with, losing your sporting director in the middle of a transfer window isn't ideal. Now Eddie Howe is presumably having to juggle pre-season preparations with watching videos of Marseille matches to assess potential signings. In a week's time, he'll be flying off to South Korea for our pre-season tour. Is that really the best use of his time when we've got deals to close? This is why I keep saying we need some kind of technical support structure in place. Whether it's a sporting director, a technical director, or whatever you want to call it, Eddie needs help. He's our number one priority, and rightly so. But expecting him to handle everything from tactical preparation to scouting foreign players to managing academy releases is asking too much of any manager. Speaking of the academy, let's touch on some of the other business that's been happening. Fair play to the 3 youngsters who've just signed new deals: Brayson, Craig, and Logan Watts. That's brilliant news. And I'm always happy to see our academy lads getting rewarded for their hard work. We're also apparently looking at bringing in a 16-year-old from Liverpool's academy, which shows we're thinking long-term about our youth development. But here's the thing that really gets my goat. We've just released 6 academy players, and none of them are generating any meaningful income for the club. Compare that to what Chelsea and Man City are doing, selling their youngsters for $20 and $25 million to Championship and lower Premier League sides. And you can see we're miles behind in terms of maximising our academy potential. Look at Freddie Woodman as a perfect example. He was such a promising goalkeeper, had to drop down the leagues to get regular football, and now he's ended up at Liverpool. Where's our profit from developing that lad? We've got Elliot Anderson moving on without what seems like a proper buyback clause or sell-on percentage. Meanwhile, City are about to get a 20% windfall from James Trafford's potential move to us because they were smart enough to include those clauses when they sold him to Burnley. This is all part of the bigger picture when it comes to PSR and financial sustainability. We've done brilliantly to increase our revenue from $150 million to $350 million in just a couple of years. But we need to be smarter in every aspect of our business. We need stadium sponsors, training ground sponsors, kit sponsors for every level, and we need our academy to become a genuine revenue stream rather than just a cost center. Now let's talk about that kit launch, because honestly, what a shambles that turned out to be. Here we are, trying to create some positive buzz around the club with a lovely new third kit. And somehow, we end up having to pull the promotional video because someone missed a potentially offensive flag in the background. You've got people paid far more than me to spot these things, and they still got it wrong. And don't get me started on the dig at Steve Bruce in the video. Look, I get it. We all remember how that ended. But did we really need to be taking cheap shots while we're trying to promote our new kit? It felt petty and unnecessary. We've got Sam Fender there. We've got Tino Asparilla looking brilliant. We've got a great story about a Japanese fan who started supporting us because of Alan Shearer. Why muddy the waters with unnecessary controversy? It just feels like everything's a bit chaotic at the moment, doesn't it? Transfer targets slipping away, kit launch problems, no sporting director. It's all a bit too typically Newcastle for my liking. But you know what? I still believe in this project. I still believe in Eddie Howe. And I still believe we're the best team in the world. We just need to get our act together and start showing it on and off the pitch. If we can get Trafford and Elanga sorted in the next week, maybe add this Balerdi lad to the mix, then suddenly we're looking at a very different conversation. 3 quality additions who can all contribute immediately. That's the kind of business we need to be doing. Well, that's all from St. James Park for today, lads and lasses. Keep supporting the best team in the world, and I'll be back with more updates soon. Let's hope the next time we chat, it's about welcoming some new faces to the tune. Away the lads!